The Monday, February 8th, 2021, meeting of the Fort Harrison Reuse Authority. Seeing that we have a quorum present, we will move forward here.
Oh, Jeff.
Jeff, we're having trouble with Zoom. Can we just?
Oh, you can go phone.
Lacey dial in?
Yeah,
Okay.
he can dial in, yes.
When-
Can we just leave mine near, April's on this one already?
Okay. Just going to put you on conference call here.
Got it.
You gonna add me?
We're just going to have you in by phone here, Lacey, okay?
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, Mr. Johnson. We are going to move forward here. The board members have engagements, and one of them has a kind of a lengthy drive, and it's snowy, and make sure everybody stays safe. We're going to move ahead to the approval, two sets of minutes that we have there, December 14th and January 4th. Thank you, Ms. Heather, making sure we get things out in a timely fashion. Thank you, ma'am. Hopefully you've had a chance to peruse those minutes. There are no I can't talk. If there are no additions, revisions, I would entertain a motion.
I would move to approve the minutes of December 14th and the January 4th meeting.
Second?
I'll second.
You'll need a
Second.
roll call with him on.
Yes, and because we are got one remote, we have to do a roll call. So we've had a proposal and a second. Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Fenwick?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Unanimous. Let's show unanimous acceptance of the minutes. Thank you all. We do have before us here Resolution 2021-01. It's for the execution and performance of project agreement regarding conveyance of lands of Fort Harrison Partners LLC for the development of a single-story retail restaurant building with drive-through capability. B, an office headquarters building consisting of 2 stories and approximately 16,000 square feet. And C, a certain adjacent parking areas and related infrastructure improvements subject to necessary changes by board officers or executive director. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll open this discussion.
Yes, sir.
I'll indicate that I've been on this board for 9 years. Tonight is the first time in that 9-year period that I anticipate we will have a non-unanimous vote on a resolution of the board. I cannot support this resolution and the project agreement that it approving for a couple of reasons. I will simply say that as a resident of Lawrence since 2003, one of the reasons that I've stayed here and invested time and energy on the fort is the village mixed-use plan that was adopted in 2007. It's my belief that the approval of this resolution and the approval of contemplated improvements that would result from this approval are contrary to that plan. Specifically, I'm concerned about what one of the most visible corners in Lawrence Village would be developed as a single-story drive-through structure. That gives me great concern. I have an additional concern that we are incentivizing a development related specifically to that single-story use, which I believe could be conducted at a market rate development without our need to incentivize it. I want to make sure that my vote tonight is not construed in opposition to the contemplated development of the office building and the attraction of another tech company to the Fort Bend campus. That's exactly the work that we've been doing in my 9 years on the board, and I think it's a great use and a great end user. To that extent, this project agreement does contemplate a master lease being approved by the Common Council, who is my appointing authority, and I will advocate for the council to approve that master lease because I think that type of development is what we are pursuing. So I think it's unfortunate. We have done a good job, and I will give credit where credit is due to this mayor and to the Common Council of trying to make sure that people understand how Lawrence is different and unique from our surrounding communities. And I think it's unfortunate that one of our most prominent corners is going to be developed with a development that looks like every other community in this area of central Indiana. And I think that's an unfortunate missed opportunity, and for that reason I will be voting against this resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Any other comments from the board?
If I may, please. I am questioning why we are selling a lot to a third party when we could sell it outright, and when it will potentially be an end user of someone we have rejected in the past. And I'm questioning why we are not taking those monies into the FHRA coffers ourselves as opposed to allowing a third party to benefit from that transaction. Also, to be clear, the master lease, which I agree is a great use or a great opportunity to encourage the two-story building for the tech company that's contemplating developing out here, that the master lease must be approved by the Lawrence Council. So again, I would support that, but it's not FHRA's responsibility to do that. So the developers need to understand that that's in their, that they'll have to manage that process. And that also that the requested north-south road in this proposed agreement is really the responsibility of a discussion between the proposed library and what the developer is proposing. And that we are supporting a building that is at a minimum 2 stories on this parcel. So I would like to have those items noted for the record.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Fenwick, any other comments? Mr. Johnson?
Yes, I'd like just to add that, appreciate the board members' concerns and comments that have been addressed. I'm excited about this project. Just to be clear, on the corner of 56th and Lee, the proposed drive-through and retail space will be a Starbucks. The tech company, I believe, is going to bring at least 85 new high-paying jobs in the roughly 80,000 and above salary range. The Starbucks itself would likely bring probably, I think the estimate was about 750 unique visitors a day into Lawrence, into our city center, which I think that foot traffic would be phenomenal for this area. So for those reasons, I am in support of this resolution.
Anyone else? Mr. Johnson?
Yes, for the reasons that, my reasons are similar to the ones that Mr. Fenwick stated. They added jobs, they increased traffic into the community, and also the support of my appointing authority, which is the Mayor of Lawrence. I wholeheartedly support the project as set forth.
Do we have anyone here from Sandy?
Yeah, I was going to say, is there anybody from Sandy or
Veritas.
Veritas?
Okay. Would you like to come up and say anything, or just here for questions? Okay.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, we have before us authorization of resolution 2021 for the executed performance project agreement regarding the conveyance of land to Fort Harrison Partners LLC for development of a single-story retail building, drive-through capacity, an office headquarters consisting of 2 stories and of approximately 16,000 square feet, and certain adjacent parking areas and related infrastructure improvements subject to necessary changes by board officers or executive director. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
So moved.
We have a motion made by Mr. Fenwick, seconded by Mr. Johnson. We will do roll call vote. I'm going to go in reverse order. Ms. Powers?
I vote no.
Mr. Fenwick?
Aye. Yes.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
And the chair will vote in the affirmative yes. The authorization of 2021-01 carries. All right. As we move through here, we'll go back up. Any treasurer report, Mr. Fenwick?
I have nothing to report this time.
Okay. I know we were working on several items. Ms. Dunstan?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, before Ms. Dunstan.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
I need to excuse myself from
And
the,
I wanted to say this before you leave. With all due respect, your effort, concern is noted by me, and your passion for being out here, same with Ms. Powers. I don't think board should ever constantly be in 100% agreement. but you guys' vast knowledge and contribution, we will hold developers' feet to the fire. Yes, sir.
I appreciate concerns being heard and addressed to the extent possible.
And keep bringing, thank you. Be careful, too.
Thank you. As far as the director's report, there's a lot going on here at the fort, so if I miss anything, we will have some time for questions if there's anything in particular that anybody wants to talk about or hear about. I did want to share that with pending closing of 4 more lots at the David Weekley Homes Phase 3, we should be down to 24 available lots out of the 60 in that phase, which is very exciting and ahead of schedule. And if you're interested, I would get your letter, of interest in soon. The apartments that are going up at Lawrence Village Parkway and Otis Avenue are on track, and the name has been changed to the Otis from the standard, if you've heard that before. So signage should be going up here shortly for the Otis.
Ms. Dunson, real quick, and that change is for public was made, explanation for the change, please.
Yes, I understand that there were some copyright concerns with a different project out of state that had a similar name of the standard at Fort Bend, so they just wanted to be careful, and that's the only reason for the name change to the Otis at Fort Bend. You also may have heard the good news that in the last few months we did sign our development agreement with the Indianapolis Public Library, so they will be bringing a 25,000 square foot new branch here to the fort at Melner and Otis and 56th. That is a new branch. It won't be replacing the other Lawrence branch. So it will take them, the regular amount of time to build, but then it'll take them a little longer to open because they're creating a new collection and a new staff. It's not a relocation from another area. So should be done, and like the final construction should be done at the end of 22, but probably won't be opening until early 2023. But we're very excited about that. The PX building, 5745 Lawton Loop East Drive, is our last building that we own of the historic buildings we inherited from the military. So we had a call for offers out of that last month. We received 5 really good proposals. We are moving on to the interview stage this week. So hopefully by next week, we'll at least have some idea of the direction that may be taking, even though it will take a few months to negotiate and finalize. We're excited to hopefully have somebody bring new life to that building. And I want to take this opportunity also to thank the City of Lawrence's marketing team for helping us put together a really top-notch video to get the word out about that project, because even though we only received 5 proposals, we had tons of interest and a lot of calls and a lot of showings. So the word really did get out. So I appreciate their help with that. Other than that, we also kicked off the design meeting for the Civic Plaza project, which is that kind of 1-acre park area that currently holds the Farmers Market, Fridays at the Fort, Loggers at Lawrence, the Winterfest that was just held. So we will be making some permanent improvements to that, utilizing some Fort Harrison Reuse Authority funds and some DNR land water conservation funds from a grant we were awarded last year for that. So a lot of exciting changes coming. And I'll just skip right down here to news at the fort. The Fort Bend Cultural Campus is the area right behind the Starrett Center and the theater. So that's also about 1 acre. They are putting the finishing touches on their redevelopment from the $5.85 million that they were granted by the Lilly Endowment. So I think they're anticipating a grand opening to the public on May 22nd coming up. So you can go ahead and mark your calendar for that. And the only other thing I had to note was the State of the City address is being held at the Garrison on March 4th from 7:30 to 9 a.m. And you can register with the Greater Lawrence Chamber for tickets to that. Unless anybody has questions or anything to add, now would be a great time. And if you wouldn't mind coming up to the...
Howdy, howdy.
Mark McDermott. I live at 9113 Rising Road, and I sent a letter into the Reuse Authority regarding the area immediately adjacent to the government center. And so just wanted to acknowledge receipt of the letter.
Yes, sir.
And then is there anything you can do to update in terms of steps you're taking or what you're doing?
First off, high five to Miss Dunstan. She more than knocked on doors that led to doors, and this is an update from Mayor Collier. I got to switch to my old man glasses here. The update said, we have informed Mr. Byrne, this is from Mayor Collier, dated February 4th, when I got it. It said, We have informed Mr. Burns that he has 30 days to remedy the situation, or we will begin fining him for every violation. Shall be handled by the Department of Public Works. So I know Mayor Collier, I chatted with him before he left, and very concerned about the issue, and city code will begin coming down on Mr. Burns and his property by the middle of March, the 30-day time, or the beginning of March, I apologize, beginning of March, as the 30-day time period runs its course.
Terrific. And the city engineer sent me an email regarding the zoning issues you've described. So what about, ongoing? We've got a situation there that attracts the zoning violations, and we have a deteriorating abandoned access road. So is there going to be a plan put together to eliminate and really kind of revitalize that area? The zoning violations that occur again, and we have something there that is consistent with the standards that you've laid forth in this development.
What do you have to add on that? Because that's,
And I actually put some,
go ahead, no, we're fine here.
my letter, I put 4 bullet points in terms of,
Yeah, I would say we're tackling the first one with the city, which is cleaning it up. And then later conversation, unfortunately, it is private property. So we'll have to work directly with them, but
right.
we're definitely open to looking into it. It's just,
Actually, many of the zoning violations are technically in the city right away.
right. I'm sorry, I think the goal is to have that abandoned so it becomes private property,
Oh, I see. Okay, so to deed it over,
potentially, yeah.
okay, and then create a greater barrier and different structures there to eliminate future zoning violations.
I would say we're at the very beginning of the conversation, so I'm happy to give an update next
In my
month
letter.
or react to the letter.
You got my letter, no worries.
Yeah.
Totally unrelated question. Is there an emphasis being placed on a grocery store coming to, it's probably ongoing.
I get that.
Love to see a fresh time.
So-
Anything like that would be terrific.
I've bombarded Ms. Dunstan a couple of times on that.
So once a year at least, we go down the list of all of the existing Central Indiana and Midwestern grocery store companies and contact them. And unfortunately, we just don't have the current headcount to attract one, considering how close several are, within a mile down different roads. So we haven't given up the fight or all hope, but I would say it's a long shot.
We've got some new apartments coming in, so hopefully that will tip the balance, but that'd be terrific.
I would say, if nothing else, we have really high hopes of some sort of a specialty market potentially coming at some point.
And then in terms of a permanent fix to the area we're talking about, do I just wait on emails, or how do I engage on that topic?
If you want to wait till the end of the meeting, I'll give you my card and we can at least make sure you have the.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you for your eyes, too, on this. Thank you very much. Anyone else from the audience? Just the last, before we break, back in December, this board approved bonuses to Administrative Assistant Ms. Heather Milliken and Ms. Dunstan, our director. And it's a shout out to, I'm kind of get off your lawn guy at my age, these young people, huh? But a shout out to Ms. Dunstan. If you've noticed, she's a nominee for amongst the best and brightest by the JA here in our fair city. And if you get a chance, go to Facebook. It's out there. And the short time I've worked with Ms. Dunstan since coming back onto the board, she can, and I mean, it's a good way. She can be exhausting. But there's work that has to be done. We, as Mr. Brown said, when I was on the board in 1995, I never would imagine we're going to have arts. We had a ice skating rink. I've lived out here 59 years. And exciting things are coming out here. And we've got young eyes in the mayor's office and young eyes that are overseeing, as our director, the Reuse Authority. So if you get a chance, pull that up. And Ms. Dunstan is one of the best and brightest. Okay? So I just wanted to make sure, embarrass her a little bit.
Well, I've been called worse things than exhausting, I guess.
They didn't mean it in a bad way. It's so bad when you put it that way. Is there anything else from the board? Being none, I think we are adjourned. Thank you.